Hi Linux enthusiasts, welcome back to the Linux Lighthouse, your guide to openSUSE Linux. Today we are diving deep into securing your openSUSE Leap system with a layered approach, combining PAM, Pluggable Authentication Modules, with encrypted SSH keys, the SSH agent, and two-factor authentication, 2FA. Whether you are a home user or a sysadmin, this guide ensures your system is as secure as it is efficient. Let's jump right in. In this video, we will cover setting up encrypted SSH keys for secure remote logins, using the SSH agent to streamline key management, configuring PAM to integrate SSH keys seamlessly, adding 2FA for both remote and local logins. By the end, you will have a robust, multi-layered security setup. Let's start by preparing our system. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to use two openSUSE Leap machines, a server and a client. First, ensure you are using the latest version of openSUSE Leap on both. To update your system, run sudo zipper refresh and sudo zipper distribution upgrade -- details. Now we will start with the server and then the client. This ensures your system and all dependencies are up to date. Next, install the necessary tools for SSH and PAM management on the server. Sudo zipper install details PAM underscore SSH, PAM underscore SSH underscore agent underscore auth, and Google Authenticator lib PAM. Now let's generate encrypted SSH keys to enhance login security. In this example, we will set up a client machine to securely access a server using SSH keys. On the client machine, run ssh-keygen -t ed 25519 -c and your email. This generates a secure key using the ed 25519 algorithm. You will be prompted to choose a location for the key and set a passphrase. A strong passphrase adds an extra layer of security. So let's run the command and hit enter for the default and make sure it's a strong passphrase. Always back up your private key and remember the passphrase. The public key will be used on the server, and the private key stays secure on your client machine. Next, copy the public key to the server. Here, you can put your username and the @ and the IP, but because the same user on my client is existing on the server, I don't need to do that. So let's hit enter and we say yes, and we enter my password there on the server. And now the public key for this user has been copied to the server. And make sure for every single user that might log into the server has his public key to be copied to the server. Because after we move forward and we finish the configuration on the server and the public key of any user didn't copy it to the server, the user will not be able to log in to the server using a public key or even copying it. So I will open another terminal here and I will switch to the second user I have here and I will do the same to generate first -t and the algorithm. And now we will copy public key to the server. So now we have both users on my client. Their public key has been copied to the server. This command ensures your public key is added to the server's authorized keys file, enabling key-based authentication. Regarding the point that users with no public key saved on the server cannot log in, you have to manually copy their public key to the server later. To avoid entering your passphrase every time, we will use the SSH agent to manage your keys. Run the following command on the client machine. The eval command runs the output of SSH agent, which initializes the agent and sets the necessary environment variables for your session. This allows the agent to manage private keys in memory. Now add your private key to the agent by running this command ssh add and where the key saved. And here we enter the passphrase. To ensure the SSH agent starts automatically, add those lines to your .bashrc or .zshrc file on the client machine. Here I'm going to use bash to output these two lines to my .bashrc. Then I will hit enter, and when I open a new terminal, it will ask me for the passphrase for the key, and now it is loaded as we did manually. So every time you open a terminal, your key will be loaded in the environment using SSH agent. And here a look about the two lines, how they will look like in the file, the last two lines in the .bashrc. Now let's configure the server to integrate PAM with SSH keys for enhanced security. Edit the PAM configuration file for SSH on the server. Add or ensure the line at the beginning is present in the file. This one auth sufficient PAM underscore SSH underscore agent underscore auth.so. The PAM SSH agent authentication module allows PAM to use your SSH agent for authentication. You may save the file and exit now. Restart the SSH service on the server to apply changes using system control restart SSHD service. From the client, let's test and try to SSH to the server. And now we have a successful login without password using our public key loaded by SSH agent. Let's enhance security further with two-factor authentication. On the server, run the Google Authenticator setup command for the user account you want to secure. So let's run the command and we follow the steps. And from your Authenticator app, you scan. And after that, you enter the 6-digit for verification. And then I hit enter and update the file. And mostly answer all the questions for yes. And you are free to read all the messages. And it's all in your favor. So now we set up the Google Authenticator on the server for the user that we will use to log in from the client and enter the verification code from our app. Next, edit the SSH PAM configuration file on the server to enable 2FA. Make sure the file has the first line above everything for authentication using the Google Authenticator required PAM underscore Google Authenticator.so. And don't forget to add the null OK for the rest of the users that they have their own public key saved on the server, but they don't have Authenticator or they didn't set up the Google Authenticator. So they stay able to log into the server. After finish editing, save and exit. Next, edit the SSH daemon configuration file to support the PAM Google Authenticator or the 2FA. At the end of the file, make sure that the file contains these lines for the public key authentication and to disable password authentication and to use PAM and challenge the response authentication for yes and authentication methods. And again, remember, users with no public key saved on the server cannot log in. You have to manually copy their public key to the server in order so they be able to log into the server. Restart the SSH service on the server to activate 2FA. Now you will need both your SSH key and a code from your Authenticator app to log in. From the client, let's test and SSH to the server. And now it's asking us for the authentication, for the verification code. I will enter it now. And now we logged in. For the second one that asked us for the password, it comes from the default configuration of PAM. If you want to disable this and the login will be only using the public key or the SSH key and the verification code, open the PAM configuration file for SSH and comment the line that including the common authentication in that file. Once you are done, don't forget to save and exit. So now from the client, let's try again. Log in. Let's enter our authentication code, verification code. And now we logged in without being asked for the password. If you want to keep it now, the security will be a little bit higher because for the user, he has to have his public key on the server and the verification code and the password. To secure your local system login using 2FA, you need to add the PAM authenticator to the login PAM configuration on your server. So let's open /etc/pam.d/login and make sure the PAM authenticator module is the first line in the file. Also, don't forget the null OK for other users with no authenticator configure. After finish editing, make sure to save the file and exit. Switch to another terminal to test our configuration. I will enter my username and now I have been asked for the code. And here, as you notice, it asked us for the verification code and again for the password. If you don't want password and only verification code, you may comment the same line for the common authentication in the login file. Lastly, in case you are curious to have your KDE login using 2FA, you need to add the same line for the Google Authenticator using PAM in the file SDDM. And let's add it here. And again, don't forget the null lock at the end. But here the trick. I tried to use both the 2FA and the password, and it didn't work unless I go here and I comment this line. So now your login from the GUI will be using the verification code only. So I will log out now and let's test it. And here, no more login with the password. Again, it will be failed unless I enter directly the verification code from my app. And here I can log in. You need also to disable auto login to enforce 2FA security. Congratulations, you have now secured your openSUSE Leap system with PAM, encrypted SSH keys, and 2FA for both remote and local logins. This layered setup protects against unauthorized access and ensures your system is highly secure. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more Linux tutorials. Let me know in the comments if there is a topic you would like me to cover next. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.